Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. Really glad that you have joined us today. And I believe because of who we've got on, we've got some really great stuff. We've got chemistry, we've got wisdom, we've got Chris Williams, and then we've got Dr. Alice Benton. And welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me here.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody listening.
As always, good to be with you guys. Ready for a great show.
Me too. And if you want to join us, we can answer almost anything. Not necessarily well, but we'll give it our best. 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. But before we get started, I want to be sure that everybody knows about this wonderful workshop entitled Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. Sheila Walsh, Dr. Daniel Amen, Henry Cloud, John Townsend, and myself. We did a little discussion with John Townsend on what he's going to be talking about. And so let's hear this little clip. He's talking about the problem with boundaries and hard boundaries. Here's John.
The problem with boundaries is going to be about why we don't do them. And because they take a little bit of effort, and we have all sorts of emotional reasons why not to. Because fears of rejection, for example, fears that we'll be unloved, fears that will hurt people. So we're going to get those hard things out of the way, so people will go, oh, it's hard, but it's still doable. It's not impossible. We'll solve that. And then hard boundaries and hard situations. This has to do with a little more than I took the toy out of my 2-year-old's hand and put him in timeout for 2 minutes. That's not a hard boundary. Hard boundaries is when there's really hard stuff, like a relationship is alienated, or there's abuse, or violence, or trauma, where God wants to come down and teach his kids a lesson, and he wants to use that for them to bring redemption. We're going to talk about how to handle it in the tough times. So you've got the tools. It's going to be a tool. I think the whole day, actually, it's going to be a toolkit day for people that want to be equipped for life, Steve.
Well, here's the thing. If you come, you're going to hear John Townsend and Henry Cloud and Dr. Amen, Sheila Walsh, myself. But it's just like our other intensives. You hear an amazing talk, you focus on that, and then you go right into a group. And in that group, that's where you really deal with stuff that relates to that. And it's a powerful, powerful day. We're only going to do it one time, so please call us. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Come join us for that. I don't think you'll regret it at all. Go ahead, Alice.
If you wonder if that weekend is for you, I was thinking about how all the things we're going to be talking about, they apply to depression, to anxiety, to parental conflict, marital conflict, relational conflict. Any of those things, you are going to leave better equipped with an understanding and knowing how to handle it.
Absolutely. If you woke up with a beating heart this morning, this applies to you. But more importantly, 2020 has been so stressful. No one has gotten out of this one free. We need help. We need guidance. Steve and his team in New Life have put together the best of the best to help us finish out 2020 healthier people.
Yeah, I really think we can leave a lot of stuff back here in 2020. Our resentments, our resistance to other people, our regrets, go right on in to 2021. New people, new things. And this year does not have to be the year that defines us. No way. So if you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000 right here. We'll take your calls when we come back from the break. 1-800-229-3000. Tomorrow, Lisa Turkhurst is going to be joining me. She's going to be talking about forgiveness. You can come with us live tomorrow, Thursday.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, December 5th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here and Chris Williams, Dr. Alice Benton. Let's go over here, talk with Nancy. She's calling all the way from Orlando, Florida. And you are on, Nancy, with Alice and Chris and Steve. How you doing?
Hi there. Wonderful. I love you guys more than anything. I wanted to have a comment about a man that called in yesterday about he
100%. I absolutely. Maybe we should have stressed that a little bit more or with him. We weren't really talking about that, though. That is true. But I hope everybody knows that so many folks, they think everything's going to stay the same. They're going to drink the same, and it's a lot, but they're going to be okay. And then there's a thing that happens. You know, your body finally can't adapt to the alcohol any longer, and boy, everything becomes horrible and painful and destructive.
Exactly, destructive, because also with that is a lot of people don't know how they act with others and their own family members, and they hurt children and they hurt their wives and they hurt. It's a very destructive and painful, and they have no clue the next day what they did to their girlfriend or their wife until you show them the hair that they pulled out you show it to them, all the hair they pulled out or whatever destructive thing they did. They really don't have no clue, and it's a really sad thing.
Yeah. Does anything like that ever happen with you?
I dated one time a guy who took drugs and also drank. Yes, and I experienced that. Yeah.
No fun.
Well, and I think this is important. You had mentioned that, Steve, that we adapt to this, and the addiction, drinking especially, but many addictions are super sneaky, in the sense that we fool ourselves into thinking we can function just fine or even function better, but over time, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, it takes over decision making. And it decides for us. And it's really audacious. We can see some of the public displays of addiction that have just been incredibly embarrassing and shame-ridden. But the truth of the matter is addiction is tremendously audacious. It doesn't care. And again, when it takes over the decision-making, it takes away a person's will to decide for themselves. And the other really, really devastating part of that is it takes over a person's ability to discern God's will, because the addiction's will is always going to win when it's active. And so our usefulness to God isn't very high, and our destructiveness we're incredibly vulnerable to. And we really need to take a really close look at what's happening inside of us and be willing to get feedback from other people if we find that, for instance, in 2020, some of our coping mechanisms have increased. And if you're wondering if it's a problem, ask an honest friend or loved one around you if they see a noticeable difference.
Yeah, very good.
I want to tell the audience that my mother's father was alcoholic, and she told me some horror stories, and she was just a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a real family issue. A lot. It's prevalent.
Well, I hope and pray that folks have heard what you're saying, what we're talking about, and just to say thank you, I'm going to send you a Restoration Bible. Hope you can enjoy that. You are listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000. We do have materials for people who struggle with alcohol. We have Life Recovery Bible. We have workbooks. We have the 12 Gifts of Life Recovery. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll tell you how to start a group or find a group, get in a group. We want the best for you. Alcohol does not want the best for you, and it will rob you of every single thing that you've got, and it won't stop until it does. And, we have to ask a question: how bad does it have to get before I'm finally going to say, okay, I'm done? I hope it doesn't have to get any worse than today, that you believe God had you listen today for a reason, just to hear a little encouragement. It's not time to stop. It's time to start recovery. Stopping is the beginning of recovery, but it takes a lot of good stuff after that for a person to get better.
We know that this year in particular, we are more vulnerable, and alcohol sales are up. They have skyrocketed this year. So if you're listening and this is hitting home for you, know that you are not alone. This is a tough, tough year, and alcohol is an easy answer. And short term, it helps. Long term, it wrecks. It wrecks. So please call us. We can help you with that.
I was just thinking, Chris, when you were saying people think that they function better with it, and there may be somebody that is so into it, they're thinking, oh, they don't know what they're talking about because I actually do function better with it. Well, if that's the case, you are so addicted to it.
That's right. Yeah.
That you really need to take a look at that, because obviously, you're so addicted that when you drink, it just gets you close back up to being able to function normally because you're so hooked on it. That's really some of the latter stages of alcoholism right there. Let's go to Deanna, Indianapolis, and right next door to me somewhere. Deanna, how you doing? Welcome to New Life. Thanks for joining us. How could we help today?
Yeah, I am calling because my husband and I have been separated for 3.5 years. I'll just say it this way. We've been living in two separate homes. Mm-hmm. He went back to his home where his mom and his nephew and his sister live, and now his son, he has custody of his son pretty much because his mom divorced and came back home.
Okay.
And so our issues started before his son, of course, and he's not an issue. He really isn't. He lives there with his dad, and I live in the home that I had, prior to marriage. And we started out living together, and it just became emotionally abusive. I literally met somebody that my mom knew, and she was a teacher, and she was like my aunt, and I could not even remember her last name, and her last name was my last name before I got married, and I couldn't remember it. So in many ways, I just felt like I was erased being with him.
Yeah.
So at that point, it just got too much. I had nowhere to have peace. And it just was a consistent, constant battle of arguing, no resolution.
Okay. So tell us how we can help you
something.
today. Tell us how we could help.
It's been 3.5 years. He has done nothing to try to put this marriage together again.
Okay. All right.
He seems
so
very
what is what's the question that you have for us then? Because we hear about this quite frequently. So what's your question for us?
Is it okay to divorce? Is it okay to divorce him?
Well, it seems to me
am I on biblical ground?
It seems to me that he has divorced you. He left you. He abandoned you, went to live with mommy, and he hasn't gotten any help. He isn't making any effort to get back with you. It seems like the divorce has occurred, and if he keeps you without filling out any paperwork on that, then he doesn't have to be financially responsible to you. He just gets to do what he wants to do with no consequences. What do you think, Alice? She's wanting to know if it's okay to file divorce, and then we'll go to Chris.
Deanna, your heart is a raw nerve. And even though it has been 3 years, I think that emotional abuse and then his subsequent abandonment of you, it is still so painful. You can barely even touch it or talk about it. Yep, I hear that in your voice. I do. And you have been bewildered by what has happened. And I don't think you have your feet under you yet, mentally or emotionally. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I will say this, he will pay some of the bills there at the house that I had premarital, and he still pays, like the gas and light and
okay, so he pays some stuff. Yeah, but what's the point there?
I don't know. know.
Okay, so he pays a little bit, but he's obviously keeping you away, or he's avoiding having to pay what would be fair. He pays a little bit, but it's not fair. And so
Dan, I think his small participation in that way keeps you bewildered about what you're supposed to do next. And although I could see the path to divorce, I want you to take a couple steps first. And one is getting the therapy for the trauma that you have been through so you can be stabilized to make such a big decision about your life and your future. And if you have not yet considered a legal separation, you need to do that to safeguard yourself, your heart and mind, and your finances. Now, your husband may or may not react to some of those actions that you're taking because you're setting a boundary. And so I think you need to see what happens as you take care of yourself first in those two ways. And then if things continue as is and he has no inclination and no action to reunite with you, to really make some changes to get help for himself, then I could see divorcing, but please take these steps first.
Chris, your thought?
I totally agree. Deanna, I really do want you to hear that. There is so much confusion and fear that it's going to be really, really hard to make a clear-headed decision right now. And so what Alice is saying is like getting into therapy so you can start healing, so you can establish some boundaries, and that you can get you back. So that, again, even as you're making clear decisions moving forward, you're doing that from a place of strength and resolve, that you're not playing a guessing game and all the time wondering if this is okay or not okay. And so, and just to say this next step, because I'm fully on board, let's get a legal separation in place, because the legal separation is telling your husband, I'm honoring the decision that your behavior is making.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why haven't you done that until now? That's really important for you to share with us. Why hasn't that happened already?
I think because I come from a Christian family, and my mom is always, well, Deb, you have, you've got to work it out, Dee, I just want you to do what's right in God's eyes. And,
hey, you know what? That work it out comment is really true. You need to work it out. but you don't have anybody that's willing to work it out. So we can't just stay with that one piece of insight there. We have to say, okay, yeah, that's right, Mom. Be great to work it out. He's not working it. But what Alice said, really, I think, is the biggest thing here, Deanna. And I want you to hold on. You don't have anybody to help you here other than some folks that have a perspective that may not take in the full teaching of the Lord and what He wants. God hates divorce. He also hates some guy living with his parents and the ex-wife struggling because, there's no legal divorce. It's just all whatever the guy wants to do. So legal separation really could be an amazing, bold next step for you. You are listening to New Life Live. I'm going to send her Take Your Life Back, and I hope she's going to take it back. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Sheila Walsh. Do you find yourself at the end of this year just worn out? Perhaps you find yourself so weary you don't know how to move forward. I want to invite you to a very special, unique one-day event on December the 5th called Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. It will be my privilege to teach the sessions on the Bible. I want you to understand that the strength you're looking for, the peace that you're looking for, the hope you're looking for is found in the strength of the Word of God, the living Word of God. So please, will you join us on December the 5th? You simply have to call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Psalm 34 tells us the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Join us. Let's move into a new year with new strength in Jesus.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
See, this is why guys sometimes don't like me, because we talk to a woman like this, and then I say, well, look what he's doing. And then they go, well, he's always taking the side of the woman. Well, yeah, if she calls, it's always, but that doesn't mean we're always going to say something that the person that calls enjoys hearing. And I suspect, that there might be some desire on people's part to hear, yeah, just stay there, don't do anything. Because although that's hard in the long term, short term, that feels like it's a little bit easier.
Well, Steve, Deanna's in a situation that I think we all, to a greater or lesser degree, find. And that's like life gets hard, and we know it's not working, and we know it's painful, but we get so confused, and we get stuck.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible Online Workshop exists.
Yes.
It is perfectly set up for Deanna to help her gain some clarity on her situation. Again, help her get some boundaries in place, but some perspective. Because the perspective that we heard that she's getting is like, really don't make a decision because you want to honor God. And I'm like, I'm not sure that that's the God-honoring thing, as you said, Steve.
Well, if somebody said to you, hey, we bought a new house and we just discovered in the basement there's an atomic bomb. Well, you wouldn't say, oh, well, here's what I think you ought to do. I think you ought to be really careful and don't bump it or anything. you wouldn't be giving advice. You'd say you ought to call somebody that knows something about atomic bombs. I mean, really, you would just you'd say I think you need to get some help there. But to become the authority on something like this and to say, well, you just need to stay there and take it. We wanted to file for a legal separation because we wanted to wake him up and make her a person that he needs to deal with and respect. It's not that we want the divorce. He's the one that's already divorced her. We want the paperwork, hopefully, to lead to something different. And I'm going to just, brains, boundaries, battles, and the Bible is great. And also our intimacy in marriage. Get those two people there. It's probably the best hope that they could find to pull this back together. Let us now talk with one of my favorite people on line 3, Ken from Washington, D.C., WAVA. Hey, Ken, how are you doing? You're going to have to turn that radio off because we have a little 7-second disparity on the radio. Are you there, Ken? Ken, are you there? Well, we're going to maybe come back to Ken. He was my favorite at that particular moment, but no more. No, he's not. Okay, but maybe he'll be favorite in just a little bit. Okay, let's go to line 8 and talk with Phil from Carson City. How you doing, Phil? What's going on in your life today?
Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Quick question and background. How do you counsel or get help for a 5-year-old? My wife and I have custody of our grandson, and he is full of only towards loved ones and family, not in a school or a different type of environment, but it's as if he is full of anger and rage. As if he doesn't know how to process his emotions.
Well, why do you have custody of him? What happened?
Well, my daughter is in rehab right now with heroin addiction, and his father is in prison. So we have had him since he was probably a year and a half. So we've had him a little over 3 years.
Okay.
In that time, we have set boundaries for our daughter to see him. She cleaned up for about 8 months and saw him, and then she relapsed. She went back into rehab. She corresponds through mail with him, and so he has had from the get-go a lot of displacement in his life.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, I'm so glad you... Go ahead. Recently?
So I was going to say, recently, in the past 2-3 nights, he's been waking up with nightmares. The one that he does remember is that someone came to his school and killed his best friend. So.
Okay. So let me just jump in here. He obviously needs you and your wife. How fortunate he is. He won't understand probably until he's in his 20s that you were there for him. But I think all of these things, and this is why you're calling, do indicate he needs help. There are specialists that know how to use things like play therapy to really help him get beyond this so that this doesn't define his whole life. If I was him, I think about when I was 5 and the sensitivity that I had, and then when I went to first grade, I was the kid that didn't want mommy to leave. So I'm really in touch with that little boy. And for dad's in prison, mom's rehab, and all I can do is get letters. He needs some help, and by getting him help now, fantastic that you're getting him help now versus, well, let's see how this goes. Does he work through it on his own or not? It's going to be a blessing. When we come back, Alice and Chris will talk to you a little bit more about your 5-year-old grandson that you're raising. You're a hero. I just am so grateful that there are people like you that take on this task, and you'll never know the impact generation after generation that you're going to have on the world because you're helping him. We'll be right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're talking to Hero Phil, who is now my favorite person that's called today because, man, is he ever stepping in there for his 5-year-old grandson. Now asking about what kind of therapy. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, Phil, you're asking the right question. That 5-year-old, he is in a lot of pain. You're seeing his pain act itself out in anger. And the irony of this is that he's doing that with the family because that is where he feels safest to be able to do it. I think that he intuitively trusts that you won't leave where he believes everyone else will. And so that also puts you in a very difficult position because his behavior is really, really difficult to deal with and can be very painful for you and the people around him. But what he is doing is he's trying to offload his own pain. So getting into, as Steve mentioned, a therapist who really does specialize with children and childhood trauma. And I know that these people can be hard to find. I was telling Steve, I'm so fortunate. I have a couple in my practice that do this. And I found that some of them are even in this COVID era doing really good online work, which was surprising to me. And what we want to be able to do is help you find someone there in either Carson City or in your area or in Nevada that can really help this hurting young boy find, as you said, the relief for his emotional anguish that he's experiencing and has no idea what to do with. The other thing I just want to mention with this, Phil, is that the impact of his trauma from 0 to 5 years old at this point, it's going to need long-term commitment. We're going to have to play the long game here and not the short game. And so just so we can love this kid and the pain that he's carrying into life, eventually into health.
And Alice, is there anything you want to add to this?
First, Phil, an encouragement and then a suggestion. When it comes to resiliency after trauma, one of the strongest factors is whether or not there was a stable person in the child's life. So reiterating that you are making a world of difference being there for him, and you will ameliorate the effects of the trauma because of your stable presence. I also think you and your wife might need parenting assistance and support, because it's got to be complex that your daughter is struggling with heroin addiction, and I'm sure that there would be guilt involved, attempts at manipulation, trying to cross the boundaries you and your wife are setting to protect your grandson, and maybe even pulling up old hurts of your own parenting of your daughter. That could get very messy, and it probably already is for you folks. So having that support, and I would say from an addiction specialist who can give you the parenting support with your grandson.
All right. Thank you for that, Alice. And I'm really glad that you called. And I'm going to send you a copy of How We Love Our Kids. I want you to hold on. Maybe we can find somebody. And I know that they can do it virtually, even during this time of separation during the COVID crisis. 1-800-NEW-LIFE is the number to call if you need some help. We've got people waiting to talk with you. They want to help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's also the number you can call if you have any desire to help us. One of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life, Larry Sonnenberg, is in the studio. Larry, how you doing today?
Doing good, thanks, Steve.
Great. What's going on?
I'm trying not to laugh because I wanted to ask people for recipes, but I didn't really have the courage to do that.
Yeah. Well, you do. You could, but you usually ask people for support. But if it's recipes, that might be a really great thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I read a testimony to just help people, remind them this is why it's worth sending your money to help New Life do what it does. But I want to give you a few little short punches of testimonies from some previous ones. I had no idea how grateful I am for what you've done, or you have no idea how grateful I am for what you've done for me, my family, and marriage, and my future. Next one, after amazing change in my husband, a year after Every Man's Battle workshop, we decided to join Club New Life. Nothing more joyful than God stopping you in your tracks and giving you what you have been seeking.
Wow.
He's
hardworking, but he does forget his glasses every now and then.
I'm trying to read my own writing.
Yeah,
your show has played a major role in helping me gain new life, emotionally and mentally. And it takes money to keep it going. Yeah, but when I say keep it going, keeping the message getting out there, being available for people to receive the support, the help, the counsel, the wisdom from people like Chris and Alice and Steve day to day. So if you could just make a gift individual, it's Thanksgiving time, and I'm starting to think more and more about gratitude, and we're to be thankful in all things, not just during the good times. And COVID has been a screwy year, and we can be thankful in this year. Don't have to be thankful for it, but let's be thankful in it.
That's right.
Please share us in that gratitude by making a gift to New Life.
And we've got a great little gift for you. It's entitled Living in the Land of Almost. And you don't want to be living in almost and miss the real thing. We want to get that to you. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE is the number to call if you can help us. And we'll be talking about a matching gift. It'll be matched if you can send it. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. All right, let's see if Kent is available at this point. Kent, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Kent, okay. A little noisy in the background there, but I wanted to get to your call. Des Moines, Iowa, Sirius XM. How could we help you there?
Well, trying a short story that my wife and I got in an argument, got a no contact. Now she's filing for divorce, and I don't want to give up, and I don't know what to do because I can't talk to her.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense to me how the system would allow. Go ahead.
Yeah. Tell us, if we were talking with her, try to be as insightful as you can. What would she say is the reason she just doesn't want to be around you or have to deal with anything with you at this point?
Well, I have no idea. That's why I want to talk to her.
So in all of your marriage, she's never said, "Here's what I would really like you to work on"?
Yeah, we've both had that issue. Yeah, with
Okay.
With,
so what would that be?
I would get all worked up about little things, and get anxiety. She helped me. She helped me figure out that I had anxiety, which I didn't know I had.
Okay.
And so I thank her for that. And but personally, what I have seen from the past is, and I don't know if I answered your question, but she's a scared little girl. That's Go ahead.
No,
I'm a scared little girl that's afraid of being cheated to, or I should say cheated.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because she spent 16 years with an alcoholic husband who didn't do anything. He was a compulsive liar, a thief, lost every job. He wouldn't even take the garbage out.
Horrible.
And so when we went to church to talk to one of our pastors about it, he educated us on how everybody has a fear. Mine was being out of control because my childhood was terrible. Hers is being cheated, and I think she thinks that everybody's out to get her, and she doesn't open up and talk about anything.
What's the question for us then? You are saying some things makes you think you got it figured out there.
Well, no, I guess what I don't understand is how the system can not allow two people to talk to each other and see what's going on in each other's minds and hearts. Instead,
Kent, brother, you don't know how scary it is to be with you when you're worked up. You don't know how scary that is for her. Stick with me, though. Stick with me. You have come from such a chaotic background that your tolerance level necessarily is very high because you had to survive so much with your family of origin. And so your radar is broken, and it's hard for you to see that you're tough to be around and that you do have a big role to play in this. Your wife has reason for not feeling safe enough to talk with you, and I'm sure some of the fault does belong to her ex and to her family of origin, but I'm not hearing enough I statements from you of this is what I did and this is why my wife is scared of me, and that's where we need to move you so that there can be hope for reconciliation.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit more right after this. I'm glad you called. We want to help you. It is so hard for any of us to see ourselves and our contributions. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and so often we hear people saying, I know I need something, but I don't know what it is. Well, we've put together the perfect experience for you. It's called Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. You're going to hear Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Henry Cloud, Dr. John Townsend, Sheila Walsh, and myself, Steve Arterburn.
In this online workshop, you'll participate in general sessions, then break out into groups. These groups, facilitated by licensed Christian counselors, are where true life change happens. You'll take what you've heard in the main sessions and begin to process the areas of your mind and emotions that have kept you stuck. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Please consider joining us December the 5th for Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible.
Register today to begin experiencing life in a new way. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here. We're talking with Kent. And Alice, you had some further thoughts here for him. We really do want to help him.
Kent, I don't think you'll care for this part either, but I'm saying this because I want the hope of the future of your relationship. The fact that there is now a no contact order, this needs to be and can be your wake-up call for you to fine-tune your sensitivity to your wife and what she needs, and for you to realize out of the destruction of the home that you came from, you, sir, are broken and you need help. And so that's why it's beautiful that you're calling this show. You're opening the door to get the help. You need to be able to have a solid answer for why your wife was so afraid that she had to get this no contact order. And you're getting there. You're on your way, and I'm proud of you, Kent.
Yeah, I think that,
Alice,
if you... Go ahead.
Alice, I heard you say you didn't hear enough eyes, and I wanted to tell you about all the eyes because it's been 5 weeks, and I knew why this happened. I knew God woke me up, and I spent the last 5 weeks, every hour of every waking moment, studying, reading, praying. I know what's wrong. I know what I've done.
So Kent, you've got to
broken.
lead with that, because you started with we got into an argument, and I'm not sure why. I have no idea why.
Well,
so lead with the knowledge you've acquired in the last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, but the lady that questioned me, I wasn't understanding what she wanted, so I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give you a phrase. There's a little habit here of some blame shifting, where you point to things outside of you. And so when you can say,
"Oh, I'm not,"
when you can give those strong statements of "I scared you," "I get too angry," "I need help," your wife will start to feel a little safe if she sees that as a new pattern for you, Kent.
My eyes were blind. I didn't see anything around me, and I feel terrible about it because God was so close to me. And then COVID happened. I'm not blaming it all on COVID, but I know what I did, and I know what was wrong, but I want to be able to tell her, and I can't.
Well, and here's the thing. You know by calling us, we can't help you with the system there.
I know.
But I do want to send you a copy of Dave Stoops' book, Forgiving What You'll Never Forget. And I think that's going to help you here with this, because we need to get you guys back together. Also, I'm going to send you the Ultimate Relationship book that we love around here, How We Love. I'm going to send that to you. I hope you can read some of that. And maybe through your attorneys you can get that restrainer off of there.
The other thing I just want to mention, because this is a painful experience for a lot of people in relationships when one person necessarily, for one reason or another, needs to leave. And there is this silence and the pain of that abandonment or the pain of the loss. And kind of you sit with this blank space where you're telling yourself a really bad story.
Yeah.
And the key factor, I believe, for Kent is exactly what we're encouraging him. There was stuff in his marriage where he wasn't seen and he wasn't understood or he was misinterpreted, and that's really painful. But this is the opportunity to go back and not just change what we think through our studying, but change how we feel and how we function in relationship by deep recovery therapeutic work.
Yeah.
And you show that you're trustworthy. You don't tell that you're trustworthy.
Yeah, that's right. All right. I'll get those books to you. Let's go to Joanne from Philadelphia. WBYN is the station. I don't have a lot of time, but I did want to get to your call. How could we help?
Yes. Hi. How are you all today?
Great. How are you?
Oh, good. Good, thanks. Yes, I wanted to first thank you so much for your ministry, and I try to listen as much as I can, so I really thank God for all of you, so thank you.
Thank you.
So my question real quick is, so I found out my daughter, she's 17, she I believe has a chemical addiction to, it's something new. I don't know much about it. It's called carts. That's what she told me. It's a form of marijuana in a vial with chemicals. I don't know. So it's been about 6 months. She broke down, and I knew her behavior was just changing. I just knew there was something wrong, and she did finally confess to me that that's what it was. So I'd like to get help for her, but I don't know where to begin.
Okay, well, this is a good start right here. And after this is over, we'll connect you with a resource for treatment. I would just say this to you. It's important that you and your husband, this is going to be a tough journey for you, and that you're going to need some help too. And whether it's going to Al-Anon or getting in with a therapist there. The destruction from this is quicker than somebody that smokes pot. You see the things developing here, and so it's actually kind of, in some ways, it's a blessing that you're going to deal with it now versus later. So all I can say is, and I'll send you this, we have a book on understanding and loving somebody that has a chemical addiction problem, and I think that'll help you. But you guys, it'd be great if you had a family therapist to help you, and then you start going to meetings, because no matter what, somehow she's going to have to figure out that she's going to need to go to some recovery meetings if she's going to stay off of this stuff. Chris, you specialize in addiction. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, it's actually a misnomer to say that you're dealing with pot. You're dealing with a form of genetically modified THC. So to think of it as pot is like, think of like Woodstock weed. Well, that's about 2.5% THC per concentrate. What she's doing is around 90%. And in these, it can also include other chemicals that they can add in, and it's completely unregulated because it has THC in it. And so it is incredibly dangerous, so you do need to put the full court press on this. And so she does need to get into care. She does need to get into treatment. And as Steve was saying, I could hear it in your voice as a mom. This is terrifying. And it is incredibly scary and overwhelming. And so getting into family support with an addiction specialist is really important here. So you as a family can move towards recovery, whether it sticks with your daughter or not.
Now, is she in school still? Is she living at home and still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, she's home. She's a senior in high school, so she's home doing virtual learning.
Joanne, you're in a very good position in that you still have so much influence and authority in her life. She made an admission to you, which could be a very good sign that she wants help out of this, that this has gone farther than she wanted it to. And so getting clear and strong about your expectations and having a no tolerance policy for substance use, I would fully support, and that would be the most loving thing to do for your daughter.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad you called, and I'm going to send you a Life Recovery Bible. There, it's just going to give you a lot of great inspiration. It's got devotions. It's got a way for you to start to work through this. I'm going to send the workbook on grief, because you've got some loss that you have to deal with. About out of time tomorrow. Lisa Turkhurst is going to talk about forgiving the tough stuff. Hope and pray you'll join us then. The Brains, Boundaries, Battles in the Bible. It's a new intensive, December 5th. Please call, sign up. You will not regret it. Every Man's Battle is also online December the 5th. It's going to be a great, great day of transformation. You can watch Life Recovery Today on the NRB network at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. You can visit liferecoverytoday.net to catch some episodes. Thanks for being with me. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Alice. We're going to see you next time right here on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.